You are listening to the Why Smart Women podcast, the podcast that helps smart women work out why we repeatedly make the wrong decisions and how to make better ones. From relationships, career choices, finances, to faux fur jackets and kale smoothies. Every moment of every day, we're making decisions. Let's make them good ones. I'm your host, Annie McCubbin, and as a woman of a certain age, I've made my own share of really bad decisions. Not my husband. I don't mean him, though. I did go through some shockers to find him. And I wish this podcast had been around to save me from myself. This podcast will give you insights into the working of your own brain, which will blow your mind. I acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which I'm recording and you are listening on this day. Always was, always will be, Aboriginal land. Well, hello, smart women. This week on the podcast, I'm talking to my friend Kate Thomas, and we are recording this at her house in Greenwich, New South Wales, Australia. Due to the fact that she's actually interviewing me, you are going to have to endure some questions about my theatrical background, but we do, I think, have a very interesting conversation of what it is to be a woman, and a woman, in fact, and specifically of a certain age. So either you are a woman of a certain age, or if you are younger, you will eventually be where we are. So I think we cover some interesting topics, and I hope you enjoy it. See you later. Bye.
If you're around my age and watched any telly in the 90s, and let's face it, we all watched the TV shows back on the TV in the day, then my guest will be a familiar face. You know her from A Country Practice, Mother and Son, Water Rats, Love is a Four-Letter Word, and After the Verdict. In the theatre, she was in Catholic Schoolgirls, Steaming, Richard III, Twelfth Night, Henry V, and a long season of Mum's the Word, which she directed and performed in for 6 years. Annie McCubbin's life spans visibility, reinvention, curiosity, and now conversation. She's since reinvented herself as the host of the Why Smart Women podcast and Why Smart Women book series. She also founded Coup, an award-winning, utterly unique boutique leadership and organisational development firm with her lovely husband, David McCubbin. She's someone who's lived through multiple versions of womanhood in public and in private, and now spends her time asking smarter questions about how we live, age, and teaching valuable critical thinking skills to women of all ages. Today, we're not doing a medical deep dive. We're talking lived experience, identity, aging, what changes and what doesn't. Annie McCubbin, welcome to On the Moans.
Oh, hello. Thanks so much for bringing up my Mum's the Word stint, where for 6 years I ran across the stage naked. I did.
Hot?
No, not hot. Not in a hot way.
Yeah.
In a mother way, because I was playing a mother that had lost her child at the swimming pool. And she was mid-getting changed.
Oh, I see.
And the toddler disappeared.
Oh.
So every night for like 6 years I had to, and this was all over Australia, we performed it, I had to run across the stage naked. And I've got to tell you this, it's really interesting and quite disturbing, is that sometimes, because it was like 15 years ago, more is it, David, 20 years ago? Oh my God. Is it 30 years ago? Anyway, people stop me at the mall, Warringah Mall, and go, I've seen you naked.
Thanks.
And it's
That's
unnecessary.
Not creepy at all. That actually reminds me of the time when David, my David, and I and our very newborn son, I think he must have been 6 weeks old or 2 months old, and we were at Boyd Charlton swimming pool and we were going for a swim because I hadn't been out of the house for 2 months and nobody had slept. And
you were mad.
And I was mad.
Mad.
And so we went for a swim. And I was getting changed into my swimmers and I had forgotten to go to the change room. And David looked up from sitting down with the son and was like, oh my God, what are you doing? And I was just completely naked in a public space. And I very vividly remember thinking, I'm too tired to care.
You're too tired.
I couldn't care less.
No, I think something changes, don't you, when we have children?
Oh, I think when you've been just so prodded and poked. And just
Had to force large things out
Yes.
of a small hole.
That's right.
It's not good.
It's being naked by the side of a swimming pool.
It's nothing.
Was just whatever.
It's nothing.
Whatever.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you all the way.
To give our listeners a bit of context, we're sitting around the dining room table. Our lovely husbands are sitting very patiently by
Both called David.
both the
By
Davids.
some, strange coincidence.
Yeah,
We're over here listening attentively.
good.
We must.
That's right. And we're sharing a wine. And I'd like to start, Annie, can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Oh, that's such a broad question.
Well, it's like your children. You know when your children came in and they said, can I tell you about my dream? And you'd go, I just really do not care.
who cares about dreams?
Nobody. So I would say, tell me about your dream in 10 words. Annie,
Yeah.
tell me about your background in 10 words.
Okay. Was an actor, then formed a company with my David where we taught communication and leadership skills all over Australia and up in Asia. And then from that, because of my sheer levels of frustration and loathing about disinformation, I thought I'll write a book. And I wrote 2 books and now I've got a podcast. It's a bit like that. And I've got 2 children. They're really old now.
They're really lovely. Your children are really lovely.
I know they are really nice.
So
I'm married to an actor too.
You are. You're married to. Well, you're both quite. What was the word you used? It was rambunctious. No, it was bombastic. No, what was the word you used?
What was the context? What was the context of this word that I used?
I was
Bombastic, rambunctious.
So I think actually what you meant to text me was the word famous, but somehow the autocorrect changed it to bombastic.
Yeah, we
or
were
something.
very, very, very briefly famous. And actually, I was talking to one of my friends at the gym today after I'd done my session. Thanks for asking. It was really hard. 45 minutes.
Yeah, you look
high
huge.
intensity.
You looked swole.
Okay. So I was talking to one of my friends because about my brief. David, do you have to open that when I'm in the middle of speaking? It's so unnecessary and loud.
What's all right?
David's now opening a Guinness.
We're going to sit and listen for a little
Well, listen, because we're riveting.
Can't I have a sip?
Go on, shush. Right. So I was talking to one of my friends about my brief foray into being famous and how when you are young and you embark on an acting career, there's this notion that being famous is going to be like awesome.
Was it awesome?
No. It's deep. It was only brief, and I've got to really be clear about that. I've got friends that have been in the public eye for 30 years and they endure this daily. And, comparatively to true suffering, like people in a war zone or living their lives in abject poverty, it's nothing. But there is something about the projection that people have onto you when you are on their screens every night, which is fine if they're looking at you from a distance and sort of waving. But as soon as they speak to you, it's really disappointing. There's a strange, and they go, oh, hello, do I know you from?
So you're saying that
My husband loves you.
when we ran into Hugo weaving in the lemons at Harris Farm, and I went, I think I know you from somewhere.
And what did he do? And he went, yeah, it's a strange thing.
He was really impressed.
It's a strange
That
thing.
actually dovetails
Oh, good.
beautifully
Yes.
into my first question, which is that do you think women are allowed to outgrow their identities, or are you expected to stay within a particular stereotype? And I feel like this applies to you much more than it does, say, to me or someone who hasn't lived in the public eye, because as you've just said, people have a perception of you. Maybe that's not the actual Annie McCubbin. Maybe it is.
Well, firstly, I think the notion of a true self is nonsense. So I think the whole spiritual investigation where you are asked to sit with yourself and deep dive into this sort of inner self, I think is bullshit. Because I think in our brains it's a committee. And if you think about it, how you were at 20 or how you were at 30 or how you are at 40 or how you are at 50 or whatever, you're not the same person, are you? You organically change. I think I was going to say your values stay the same, but even sometimes your values change. So I don't know. I think the notion of identity and the true self is bullshit. And for a lot of people, myself included, like David and I we've done a lot of training with corporates, and there's all this stuff about 5-year plans, go do a 5-year plan. And I've certainly never had a plan, and everything I've done has been absolutely accidental. So I never had an idea of who I was, and I sort of still don't.
So that's very interesting to me because my personality loves a plan. So I don't mind a problem so long as there's a plan and a solution. And I would say that for a very long time when I was working full time in the hospitals, that was very much my identity, and I had a lot of my ego and self-worth wrapped up in that, and then had to, well, I didn't have to, did I, David? But I rage quit my job one day, and so went from being in a full-time job that I'd done for 25 years to being unemployed overnight, and then very much had to re-evaluate exactly everything you've just said, which is...
So let me ask you, so you rage quit your job. So for 25 years, you've got your sense of meaning and purpose tied up and your identity tied up.
Yeah.
And so you wake up the next day and that's no longer there.
Yeah, no, I was really out to sea.
What happened to you? What do you mean by out to sea? Unpack that. Because I think it's really important for people to know what happens.
Well, I just didn't have, when 40 hours of your week is taken up by a job, I had then all this free time, and not only a job, but a really procedural job. So I think working in healthcare is, it's extremely procedural for good reason.
It has to be.
It has to be.
Yeah. But did you get anxious? Did you get agitated? What happened?
Well, did I get it? I think I was looking over to my David now for some kind of clue as to whether or not I got anxious. But
it's very hard. Self-referencing is hard.
Yeah, I think what I had to do was find a purpose. So I had to then go, okay, you can't have this expansive day just stretching out in front of you. And thank goodness, I would say thank goodness at the time we were renovating the house. So I was actually quite busy. And that took up the time so that
did it give you that sense of meaning or purpose?
Well, I suppose it kept me busy.
Different. Is that different to meaning and purpose?
I think at the time it was the stopgap between finding new meaning and purpose, I would say, because certainly I don't like to be idle at all. So I find relaxing makes me anxious.
I'm the same. I cannot for the life of me. The life of me. People go, why don't you go on a nice
cruise? Why don't you go on a cruise?
I'd rather die.
I would also rather die. Our Davids are laughing because I have said multiple times, there's nothing like the thought of going to a resort and sitting by the pool.
Me too. Do you know how long I can do a poolside sit for? 10 minutes. Then I'm like, right, okay, what are we doing now? What are we going to do? What are we going to walk? Are we going to kayak? Are we going to do that? I've got to write something.
Yes, exactly. I've got to be optimizing.
Do you reckon that's personality? I think it's personality.
I think the two of them are laughing. I think it is personality. Because I think that there are, there's absolutely people who like to go and sit by the pool. I'm not made for sitting in the sun either. So
I'm just not made for sitting.
I'm not made for sitting. And I like to be, I guess, I always feel like I like to be achieving. So
Me too.
I guess that was another thing that happened when I stopped working, was that I'd sort of stopped achieving, hadn't I? So
yeah,
that was all a bit wrapped up in that sense of self. And then it took a long time to have then the courage. So creative types, I'm guessing, like yourself and your David, are used to thinking quite broadly, whereas in healthcare we think we think within a framework. And so therefore going from a very structured, rigid job where your metrics are actually they're being, your performance is being scaled on these matrices, to being able to go, oh, do you know what? I could do anything.
But also you are, for someone who's healthcare-ish, it's a new term. You can use it if you like.
Healthcare-ish.
Healthcare-ish. Healthcare-ish.
It's very French.
Hello, I'm healthcare-ish.
Healthcare-ish.
You're very creative.
So I would never have described myself as creative
You are, though.
at all.
Look at your look.
Oh, that's lazy. That's a laziness. I would never ever have considered myself creative. Would I, David? My David? No.
You knew she was creative. And that's the thing about, I reckon, back to your initial question about identity, is that this idea that we've got this really clear, idea of ourselves, and there's quite sort of a nice sort of perimeter about it, and is not right. Often it's people that are close to us that tell us what we're like.
Yes, but then if you don't feel it,
Feel what?
What the people around you are saying to you. So if people around you are saying you're really creative and you don't feel it, then it doesn't feel genuine. I guess my point is that you have to own it from within. I guess.
Well, you have to enact it.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's just an idea.
Yes. I guess I would say I still don't feel particularly creative. So I see creative people and think, gosh, they're really clever because they're being really creative, and don't identify with those people.
Yeah, and I guess that's fine, and it sort of makes sense. It's like people say to me, I'm very disciplined, which I don't really, if you look at me in my whole look and the sort of the life I've led, I've got this sort of meandering, sort of chaotic life. And yet people look at me from the outside and go, you are disciplined. And if I think about it, it's actually true. I'm very, very disciplined with some things like exercise.
Yeah.
And what I eat. I actually am disciplined, but I don't really see it in myself because of this idea of a broad identity. And I think women especially, I could be wrong, I could be so wrong about this, but I wonder if we're pushed, if we are in some way pushed into this notion of an identity because it's part of being, I don't know, you're a mother, or you're a working mother, or you're a creative. I don't know if it's the same for men. I don't know. But I know a lot of women have struggled with it. Like, who are they? It's a ridiculous question. Who am I is a ridiculous question.
I wonder if we could ask, there's two men in the room and we could ask them, but I wonder if it does pertain to men, because you hear often about men who retire, and then
Die.
Well, yeah, because everything they've done up until that point was wrapped up in work, often, would you say? Often work. And
But do they see that? It's that notion of how much do we reference ourselves? How much witness do we have over our own behaviour or the parameters of our life? Do you think they knew that before they retired?
No, I don't.
I don't think they do either.
I don't think I knew it though either.
I don't think we know anything. I don't. I think we're just mysteries to ourselves. I think we're just a total mystery.
Which is in some ways quite, like, if you're in the right frame, it's quite liberating, because it actually then means you can do, if you can have an idea, then you can do it. You're not actually constrained by being a hospital pharmacist, am I? I'm not, because I would say over the past 2 years, my personal growth has been jettisoning that idea of myself and being open to other possibilities.
And it was accidental, right?
I guess
The rage quitting,
yeah,
then precipitated,
Yes.
and a contextual environment
Yes.
that where you just went, I don't know.
Yes.
But it wasn't like plotted out.
It wasn't plotted out. Looking back, I think it was extremely lucky, because looking back, I would say I had been probably going stale at that job for 2 years, but would never have had the actual, I don't think I would have had the impetus to actually kick myself out of it, because nothing wrong with it. It was nice and close, job I was good at, paid well, nice people.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, nothing wrong with that. No, nothing wrong with that. So I would never have shoehorned myself out of it. But the fact that something happened and I came home and I had a chat with my David and we decided, it was really push comes to shove. And I just went, okay, well, I've got to take the opportunity. It's either that or I have to resign myself to working there for the next 10 years until I retire. 10 years, she says, 20 years, 15 years.
We'll never retire. We're never going to retire.
Never retire.
We're never going to retire.
But actually, but that's an interesting point as well, because why would you retire?
I don't know. I wouldn't.
No,
but then I don't work full time. I think it's really important that we acknowledge the fact of our middle class privilege.
Oh, so
right,
my God. So I will say to anyone who will listen that the only reason I wasn't able to do this was because I was supported by somebody, my husband, financially and emotionally, to be able to do it.
100%.
Of course,
we've got choice.
Yes,
we have choice.
Yes,
and I think that's what drives me intensely mental about the whole, spiritual. David, I can hear you.
You're being thrown off by the whispering.
Yeah. I think that's what drives me nuts about this whole manifesting thing. I'm just going to take a U-turn into that, is that you can have whatever you want if you just think about it and you focus on it. It's just bullshit, because you can't have it. We have got a better chance of enacting an idea because we have a support system around us. Most people, most of the world doesn't have a support system and they can't enact it.
No.
So we're in this highly privileged position, which sort of where I go in terms of what I'm currently doing with my life, because I think I am privileged, and my current focus is on fighting disinformation, because I see it as such a danger.
Yes.
So I can use my position that I have in society, not in a wanky way, but just I do want to do something about it because it drives me nuts, right?
Which is actually how we met, wasn't it?
Yes.
It was through a mutual friend, and it was through.
Is that my drink?
That's mine, but
I'm going to tip it into mine, and share it with you. Thanks, Kate. What are we drinking?
We're still on the Aris.
It's really nice.
From Tasmania.
I don't even particularly like champagne, but I like it.
Yeah, it's dry and delicious, and it's from Tasmania.
And we love that. It's delicious.
Annie and I met through a mutual friend who was.
Thank you, other David, for my champagne.
To debunking, and on my TikTok channel I was doing some debunking, and Annie has her Critical Thinking Why Smart Women podcast, and that's how we first met. And I was going to ask you actually around I was going to ask you about your opinion on this whole rise of big wellness, which we now know. I know you've broken out in hives, but we now know is grosses more money than big pharma. So
5 times as much.
Anybody out there who thinks big pharma is out to make money, what do you think big wellness is out to do? It's just less regulated. Don't get me started.
Don't get us both started.
Except that we're now both started.
Well, I'm started. I'm well started.
We're well started. And I get the feeling, but I don't know if it's just because it's my perception, that it's targeted at women.
Oh, of course it is. Oh, that's not your perception. That's well supported by data.
So how is this not some kind of misogyny when you're speaking? I heard a lady on a TikTok that was saying she was talking about taking your triglycerides and dividing it by your HDL, and that was going to be the best indicator of insulin resistance. And I was just like, it's oversimplifying a very complicated problem, but the way you're saying it is so
certain.
They're
so certain.
And I feel like I'm being gaslit.
We are being the women in our society are being gaslit by wellness. 100% that is accurate. It is aimed at women because they are more vulnerable to marketing.
And why is that?
Why women? Well, because to start off with, I think the way we are configured with our brains, we are more likely to form community than men. So therefore, there's more interplay between us. There's more chat. There's more sort of spread of the disinformation or more spread of everything. And also, we are required to remain young, thin, fit permanently. Men can age, get grey, put on weight, and they're just dignified, and I don't know what the fuck else, but that's what happens, right? There's a completely, don't you even look at me. I'm looking at my husband. It's right. There's a different...
Who is none of those things.
Neither of those things. And he's very nice. I'm just saying that the pressures on women...
to self-optimize all the time.
To self-optimize. And, of course, wellness... And we have talked about this, and I will say it until the day they lay me in a grave. That was so morbid. Why did I say that? Anyway, I've said it now. I will continue saying it until I can't say it anymore. And that is, science is complex. And if you become unwell, you go to the doctor, and the doctor is going to run some tests on you, because the doctor doesn't just look at your irises and go, you've got too much cortisol and you need more St. John's wort.
Yeah, your
They're not going to do that. Your
balancing.
hormones need balancing. What they do is, because they are trained, they evaluate you and they have to run tests, and they don't tell you in the first 5 minutes what is wrong with you.
So what do you... I have a very... I'm going to say a unique, no, I'm going to say a very privileged experience with the medical system, given our set. So given the fact that my lovely husband's a doctor, I've worked in hospital for 25 years, I'm a pharmacist. So I guess we know how to use the healthcare system. I'm just bringing this up because when I did a TikTok on debunking a naturopath.
Which one? Barbara O'Neill. It was Barbara O'Neill. It wasn't Barbara O'Neill.
No, it wasn't. But
go on. Who was it?
It was it was the lady from Liverpool. But anyway, I mean,
I don't know her. I hate her anyway. But go on.
the number of comments saying I go to my doctor and my symptoms are being dismissed. And
do you know what though? I think to some degree, there is some dismissing of female symptoms.
Yeah.
And then they leave the doctor because the doctor doesn't know, and we there is the leftover, I think, from the notion that women are hysterical. I do think that is part of it.
Yep.
And then they go to the naturopath, or they go to the homeopath, or they go to the guy that presses your arm down, whatever, the reflexologist.
Oh, is that what that is?
It's so nuts. It's so nuts. But anyway, they go there, and then the person looks at them dead in the eye, and they'll give them 45 minutes, to your point about the quality of time. And they'll give them 45 minutes, and they'll look them in the eye, and they'll say, you've got inflammation and your hormones need balancing.
And parasites.
And you've got some parasites. The parasite thing, may I say, was on the Channel 7 news. What the hell?
Yes. About time.
What the hell?
But I would say about time.
What the hell? No, but they weren't debunking it.
Oh, I thought they had. So I only saw it briefly, but I thought they were saying people are falling victim to.
Oh, were they?
Yeah. I think
okay,
so.
good. Go, Channel 7. Go you.
I think so. So
but everyone goes, no, because I do have parasites, because I can feel it. And also recently, someone was saying that all the doctors are lying. There's no such thing as cancer. It's just parasites. Now, of course, if I'm feeling vulnerable and unwell, and I've been having symptoms that may be cancer, of course I want someone to tell me that it's not cancer and that I can detox and get rid of my parasites and I'm going to be fine, right?
Yeah.
It's it makes sense, but it's so destructive and terrible and undermining. We're going backwards.
We are going backwards, but I think medicine needs to step up. So I think,
How can they do that?
well, because they're constrained with a 15-minute Medicare rebated, and also nobody wants to pay for a GP, yet somehow everyone seems happy to pay for their naturopath. Don't fully understand the thinking behind that, but
Appeal to nature bias. It is. It's the appeal to nature bias. The word naturopath. You're not going to contaminate my body with filthy, disgusting chemicals from Big Pharma. I'm going to go to a naturopath and they're going to give me natural herbs, and then I'm going to take them even though the natural herbs were manufactured in the same facilities that the Big Pharma makes their medicines in.
and also, I mean, we were talking
And they're
before-
useless.
we were talking before because I was preparing dinner, and Annie was saying she can't have the seafood, so I had planned this whole salmon
Sorry about that.
extravaganza.
Should have mentioned
anyway,
that earlier.
I changed tack, but I did say, I quipped to her, "Oh, it's all right, I'll make the beef Wellington." But
Foraging all day.
I've been foraging all day. But of course, the death cap mushroom is natural.
Brown bears, arsenic,
Yeah,
right? Cancer,
yeah,
all natural.
All natural.
Tsunamis.
It's a very
Strychnine.
It's an extremely strange way of thinking, to my mind, that you would not want to pay somebody who has studied at university for 14 years.
Because you're in the pay of Big Pharma. That's what they think.
Yeah. Well, so they don't understand, do they? That in this country, there's no such.
That you're like you by all accounts, you and your husband should be super wealthy by now because you're shills for Big Pharma,
That's
right?
it. That's it. I'm missing out on something.
Whereas in fact, somebody who's selling unregulated supplements is going to be making way more money than you are, and that's the truth of it. But it's just unfortunately, and it comes down to critical thinking skills. People cannot discern, they cannot evaluate, and it's because of groupthink. You know, it's because of what's the thing, David, with a identity protective cognition. I'm in a
What's
group.
that?
It's so good. So I'm in a group of people, say, or us, and we all hate Big Pharma, and we really love the whole naturopath thing. And then we've got a sort of cohesive identity around the fact that we are not going to fall for the Big Pharma narrative. We're going to stick with the herbs and the naturopath and the homeopath. Now, because we're so tribally brained, if something hits my psyche and I go, hang on, but actually, my aunt died of cancer and she was using, St. John's wort or whatever they're doing, and she died. And if something starts to infiltrate my thinking whereby I doubt the narrative, I then am going to be excised from the group, and I don't want that. We need a tribe. We're tribally brained. I need to belong.
I see.
So the belonging is massively important. I think the mistake that people make is thinking that if you are intelligent, you will not fall victim to flawed thinking. That it's only, I think there's a perception that it's only the unintelligent that have confirmation bias or identity protective cognition or any of the flaws that actually run our thinking.
So we say this a little bit, don't we? We've got a very dear friend who is a plastic surgeon, and he makes a point. He couldn't be more to the left, could he? But he makes a point of listening to all the very far right media because he identifies the fact that he is confirming his own bias by surrounding himself with like-minded people. And Dave,
It's a smart thing to do.
my David and I talk about this a lot, that, we go, gosh, we must be right because everyone we speak to thinks the same way
Yeah,
that
we're in the
we do.
bubble, right?
Yeah.
Consistency bias, confirmation bias, identity protective cognition. It keeps us trapped in our own belief system. But I think that the idea that if you're smart, you will naturally have critical thinking skills is not true. Very, very smart people. If you look at Elizabeth Holmes and Theranos, the people that actually bought into the Theranos scam. Do you know Theranos?
No, tell me.
Okay, so Theranos was created by a woman called Elizabeth Holmes, and it was meant to be a pathology test where you could test for everything immediately or over a period of an hour with one drop of blood. And she was very attractive. She wore turtleneck sweaters, didn't she? She had blonde hair and she had a very low New York voice. So she sounded very certain. She sounded like she really knew what she was talking about. And she was great. And she had that. And she did this thing. She had names like George Shultz, Kissinger, and Murdoch buying into this. Now, you would have to say that those men, you know, they're not dumb. They're highly strategic, smart, well-educated men. And yet their critical thinking was absolutely went to sleep in the face of her charisma and in the face of this narrative which seemed seemed so enticing to them. And then what happened was, of course, she sent people out into the field using these fake machines, and then people died.
Yeah.
Because it was nonsense, and it's a terrible story. And she went to jail. She went to jail in the
Sounds
end.
like a good
she had a
place for
baby. She's disgusting. It's disgusting. But this critical thinking skills, and especially now when we are so beset with this sort of tsunami of disinformation that's coming at us, and mainly women, we have to develop critical thinking skills so we can stay safe and stick with science. We're not medieval peasants. You know, I'm writing a book at the moment about a wild birth because, you know, women are going back to birthing alone in a frigging caravan with some sort of witch magician person, and they're dying.
I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I really don't understand it.
I come from an acting background, and I understand it probably better than you do because I know a lot of non-science brains who go, that sounds really good. I'm just going to get some, what I'm going to do is get some, what are those herbs that they use? No, essential oils.
Oh, yeah.
Going to have some essential oils. It happens on set. They come at you and start waving essential oils. I'm like, fuck off with that. I don't want your fucking essential oil. Leave me alone. I hate it. I hate them so much. It's so sort of invasive.
It's very
Wafting them at you. It's like, fuck off.
To wrap up,
Yes.
I want to know
Yeah.
from you.
Yeah. Oh, God.
No, it's the most important question of the evening, which
Yeah.
is
Oh, my God. Yeah, what?
what was the favorite book that you read this year?
It puts me under so much stress. I'm a
and
massive reader.
I know, which is why I'm asking.
I do know.
Okay, tell me.
I do know. John Banville. It's John Banville, and it's the singularities.
Okay.
It's,
All right.
Nothing much happens. It's awesome.
All right. I'm going to Hawaii.
Oh. Are you?
Yeah, no.
It's not a Hawaii book.
It's not okay.
Oh, no, it's terrible.
Oh, okay.
John Banville writes these terribly depressing Irish novels full of the church and pedophilia and disasters.
Wow, was there nothing
incest.
was there
It's
no like Leanne Moriarty book
No, I
that
hate
you read?
that.
Okay.
No, I hate that.
Okay. Was there no
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
I only
Look,
read.
I asked.
No, you asked. I don't have.
Now
I
I have
can't
to.
help you.
Okay,
I
I'll
can't
get it on
help you.
Audible.
No, do not read John Banville in Hawaii.
Okay.
Okay, if you have to read something light, read You Are Here. You Are Here.
Okay.
It's light but well written.
All right. I like that. All right. Have you got
What
that?
else do you
Has
wanna know?
everybody got that?
Go on.
That's all I want to know.
Okay,
I
that's good.
I wanted a book recommendation.
Also, Snow. Oh, he's the best. He's actually the best.
Snow.
He's written another book called Snow. Just look at John
Oh,
Banville and
I
just
see.
work your way through it.
Okay,
And be
all right.
really depressed.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Wow. That was a great way to finish. Maybe you could tell people how to find you.
Oh, how do people find me?
Well, on
Oh, yeah.
on the
On the
podcast.
Why Smart Women podcast.
There you go.
And also 2 books, Why Smart Women Make Bad Decisions, which is you can buy it or you can listen to the audio, which
being read by the author.
and 20 of my best friend actors.
Oh.
And it's playing at the moment on the podcast.
Yeah.
So you get the first book, Why Smart Women Make Bad Decisions, chapter 1 to 10.
Amazing.
It is amazing.
I've very much enjoyed reading it.
I accidentally wrote them.
You accidentally wrote them.
I did.
How do you act? That sounds like that sounds like being accidentally pregnant.
It sort of was. I was bored on a job. I was on an acting job. I thought, start writing something, and I did. Oh, that's what happens with my dog. Yo-Yo, she drinks in the middle of the podcast.
Yeah,
I love
thirsty
it.
work. It's thirsty work being a podcast dog. All right, we have to stop now because now we have to.
Okay, goodbye.
Goodbye.
It was great. Thank you.
Thanks, Annie.
It's funny.
Thanks for tuning into Why Smart Women with me, Annie McCubbin. I hope today's episode has ignited your curiosity and left you feeling inspired by my anti-motivational style. Join me next time as we continue to unravel the fascinating layers of our brains and develop ways to sort out the fact from the fiction and the over 6,000 thoughts we have in the course of every day. Remember, intelligence isn't enough. You can be as smart as paint, but it's not just about what you know, it's about how you think. And in all this talk of whether or not you can trust your gut, if you ever feel unsafe, whether it's in the street, at work, in a car park, in a bar, or in your own home, please respect that gut feeling. Staying safe needs to be our primary objective. We can build better lives, but we have to stay safe to do that. And don't forget to subscribe, rate and review the podcast and share it with your fellow smart women and allies. Together, we're hopefully reshaping the narrative around women and making better decisions. So until next time, stay sharp, stay savvy, and keep your critical thinking hat shiny. This is Annie McCubbin signing off from Why Smart Women. See you later. This episode was produced by Harrison Hess. It was executive produced and written by me, Annie McCubbin.